Alive and alert on the north side of the dirt. It is your man D-Real coming at you with another Be Real with D-Real, where edutainment is what I do. And today is just another edutainment-y kind of day that I am having and spilling. And a question popped in my mind. What Black artist, journalist, writer, whatever, do you think is most responsible for putting Black artists and writers on the map? I mean, because we know back in the day, there were artists that drew the Shadow and the Phantom, and there were a few Black artists that actually did work on those characters, but because they were IPs, these Black folks didn't get paid and they didn't get their props for doing it. It wasn't until 1947 when a man by the name of Orrin C. Evans, he was an American journalist, and he decided to get together with other African-American writers and artists and do a comic called All Negro Comics that dropped in 1947. And it featured characters like Ace Harlem, who was basically kind of a Black Dick Tracy. And of course, Lion Man, who is a more plausible, believable version of Tarzan, because of course it's a brother. That makes more sense. And then there were kind of, comedy issues, funny stories in there, kind of like, Baby Huey, Little Lulu type stuff, that kind of stuff, but it was like Black characters. So one issue in 1947, and it wasn't until 1965 that we saw the coming of a character named Lobo. Not that Lobo, this Lobo. Yeah, kind of gives you kind of some Jim Brown vibes coming off of that image, doesn't it? Kind of look like he might have been the inspiration of that. 100 Rifles? No, 100 Rifles didn't come out until later. I'll check the date on 100 Rifles. That's the one where Raquel Welch was his girl, and Muggs wasn't liking that. Yeah, that had to be like mid-late 60s, because Jim Brown was pissing white people off like crazy. But what could they do? He's Jim Brown. Anyways, Lobo was this Western character, this Western-based character who had two appearances that he made in his own self-titled comic. Gee, wonder why that didn't happen. Thank goodness 1 year later, Mr. Lee and Kirby decided there needed to be more Black representation in comics. And we got the Fantastic Four, famous landmark issue number 52 that features the debut of none other than the Black Panther. That's where our beginnings are in comics. That's where we started off at. And since then, we've gotten all kinds of wonderful Black writers, Black artists, Dwayne Turner, Dennis Cowan, Christopher Priest, Reginald Hudlin, Ta-Nehisi Coates, Brian Stelfreeze, Marcus Williams, Greg Burnham, can't forget those guys. But yeah, that is essentially the start, the genesis of Black comics, Black comic characters. So if anybody ever asks you, has there ever been? Yeah, there has, but they didn't get the notoriety and they didn't make the headway that Orrin Cromwell Evans, that's a cool middle name, Orrin Cromwell Evans did as a journalist who decided to make a Black comic, All Negro Comics. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. What'd you think? Was this educational enough for you? Do you need more? Do you need more delving into it? Do you want to know about the life of Orrin Evans? You know what? People do not know what month or day Orrin Evans was born on. They simply cite that he was born in the year 1902 and died at the age of 69 in 1971. So that's about all they know about him, that he was an African-American journalist and he worked for a mainstream white newspaper, one of the first Black reporters to do so. So he was making a lot of firsts long before he got into comics. So let me just leave y'all with a pic so you can see the man, the myth, the legend, arguably the first Black nerd, blurred, whatever you want to call it. Yep, he looked like he was team light skin. It's all good though. He broke some barriers, even if it wasn't but for one comic. And my man that did Lobo, he broke some barriers. Let me give him his props. It was from Lobo, came out in Dell Comics, by the way, if you didn't see from the headline. Don A.J. Arnson and Tony Tallarico. Those do not sound like African Americans, but it was the first African American character to headline his own series. Yay! How was that? Was that an edutainment moment for you or what? If y'all want more info, drop it in the comments. And as always, I'll be coming at you with another one of them other ones. And until I do, yo, y'all be good. Good to each other.